Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down the 6-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into a quick review of last night, as promised, I will be showing you guys my lineups and what I'm going with every night, because I understand, if you're taking advice from someone, you want to be able to see that they're succeeding themselves, that they're capable, that kind of thing. So this was my lineup last night. Another win. I've been on a roll. As mentioned, I've lost one slate so far in the year since Christmas. I lost opening night, the 2-game slate, and then since Christmas onwards, I've won every night outside of one night, which was the night James Harden and all the people on Houston was out, and James Harden was that top play. That was the night I didn't cash in, but last night was able to cash in again. This is the lineup I went with. I had 12 entries and 4 different lineups, so I had 3 entries with the same lineup for each one. And the ownership you see on the screen is the ownership in the big tournament on DraftKings, the $20 tournament. That's the one I'll be showing you guys, whatever the case may be, if it's the $15 or the $20. It's $20 last night, it's $20 again tonight, but anyways, this is the lineup I went with. I had Russell Westbrook at the top, 39.5% owned. He put up 60.25. Bradley Beal, Josh Jackson, Pokusevski. Sorry, I've kind of struggled with pronouncing his name, but I had him, Muscala, Zach LaVine, Frank Ntilikina, and Andre Drummond. Thought process that went into this one, the Chicago-Washington game came in with a very hefty total in comparison to the rest of the slate. It was like 237 total compared to 222 total. So I wanted to capture the upside, and Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal have all the usage in their offense, so I figured I could toss those two in there and kind of capture that with the value options that I had on a guy like a Mike Muscala. I liked Frank Ntilikina when we found out that Alec Burks was out. I thought he was going to get more run. He put up a pretty decent performance. And then Pokusevski I liked a lot more. Once we found out Al Horford was out, same thing applies for Mike Muscala, and I really liked Andre Drummond to go off in this one with no Kevin Love. So that was the thought process there, and why I went with those guys. Of course, my projection model does aid me in this. That's something I've been working very hard on. If you don't know, guys, come and join. I mean, I've had some tremendous success using it. This is the same tools that I use when building my lineups, and I've built them to be affordable and to match up with the rest of the stuff across the industry. I've been playing DFS since about 2016. I have subscribed to other websites. I know what they have to offer. I know they charge $30, $40 a month, and I know what I've put together is really good stuff. So premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, my core plays, my injury impact insights, my NBA Discord chat access where you can ask me questions all the way up until lock and give my personal feedback. And then you can follow me over on Twitter at KJK_DFS, where I have started to tweet out my top play every single night, my top projected play, based on how much they're going to multiply their salary by at 7.1x at a 3,200 price tag. Last night, my top play was Mike Muscala. And as you could see, he put up a good game, 24.25. He had the fire emblem on DraftKings, so if you played him, you would have been happy. So that's a quick little review of last night's slate. Moving on to this one, we got a 6-gamer. And going to break this down game by game. First game, Memphis at Boston. Right now, this game comes in with a... there's no total out. So a lot of the lines aren't out yet. I will say the over-unders and the spread, so I can't really reflect on the over-unders, but I will say that the last line posted was Boston as 9-point favorites. And that makes sense. The Memphis Grizzlies did just lose Ja Morant. They don't have Jaren Jackson. So, it makes sense for Boston to be a pretty hefty favorite. In this one, Memphis does play fast, though. And, it is definitely going to be a good matchup for the likes of Jason Tatum at the top at 8,600. A guy that I think has been pretty overpriced to start the season, but can definitely get you there. He's a guy that has a ton of upside every single night. He put up 48 DraftKings points last time out, and he was at an 8,800 salary. So now that he's down to 8,600, I definitely think he can get you there. And I might have more interest in him than I have all season long. It's just a matter of if this game turns into a blowout. Jalen Brown at a 7.3 price tag has similar upside to Jason Tatum, and he is cheaper. So at 7,300, I would definitely have some interest in going there, taking on this Memphis team that doesn't really scare me too much defensively. And, those guys are my top 2 options. Marcus Smart's a guy that can always get hot and stroke it. But he's kind of an all-or-nothing play in a sense. He is 6,300, which is pretty good price tag, for his upside. He could definitely put up 40 DraftKings points, and at 6,300, you'd definitely be happy with that. So, it would make sense to be playing some Marcus Smart. And then on the cheap end, you definitely could play some Jeff Teague at 3,900, who just continues to be kind of priced low. I think he's going to be kind of a hit or miss play this season because he's only getting like 25 minutes, but he gets a ton of usage in the Boston offense at times. And especially if they get ahead in this game, I'd expect him to have a better game than normal. So those are the guys I'd be looking to on the Boston side. With no Ja Morant, I think we will see an increase in usage for Dillon Brooks at 6,200 on the Grizzlies side, so I definitely do like him. 35 minutes last time, he put up 43 DraftKings points. Now, of course, he was taking on the Brooklyn Nets, which I think is a little bit of a better matchup. They had no Kyrie, no Kevin Durant. So I think that was a little bit of a better matchup for him. But at 6,200, no Ja Morant. He's going to get all the usage he can handle. Last time he shot 4 threes. The time before he shot 13 threes. He's a guy that can stroke from behind the arc. And when you get that half-point bonus on DraftKings, I definitely think he has a ton of upside. And then Jonas Valanciunas, same rule applies. Kyle Anderson, same thing. 39 minutes last time off for Jonas Valanciunas. He put up 43 DraftKings points. I think that we could really see him step up with no Ja Morant. Unfortunately, not the best matchup taking on the Celtics, as mentioned, but, someone's going to have to get the ball. Kyle Anderson, the last one, 6,000, same story. Going to have to get more usage in the offense. He put up 41 DraftKings points last time out, 45 DraftKings points the time before. Better matchups, but he's going to be relied on heavily, so be interesting to see how those guys grade out in my final run on my projections, whether I like them or not with the matchup and all that stuff factored in. Moving on to the next one, Atlanta at Brooklyn. This one's kicking it off at the top. We got Trae Young. This game comes with a 238.5 over-under, so expected to be a very fast game. You love to see that, and 7.5-point favorites are the Brooklyn Nets. So I think that this game could stay close. And Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got the rest last time out. I've mentioned, I don't really like playing these guys in games that I think are going to be blowouts because I think other guys will step up. But now we have no Spencer Dinwiddie. He went down. These guys are coming off the rest in the last game. I think both of them are underpriced for their upside, and I definitely like both of them in this one. Kyrie Irving, 8,900. I definitely think he could put up a 50 spot. Same rule applies for Kevin Durant. They're both in the mid 8K range, so if they can both get you 50 plus, you're going to be real happy with that. And in a good matchup against Atlanta, I really do like these guys this time around, and I really do like Trae Young running it back with him on the other side. 9-6, and he put up 55, 52, and 41 DraftKings points the last 3 times out. He could definitely put up literally 60 DraftKings points in this matchup. And if you're playing the likes of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, you're going to need this game to stay close. So it does make a lot of sense to run it back with a Trae Young. Those would be my top options in this one. Of course, you could always play Cam Reddish on the cheap end at 4-4. I do think he's a viable play because he's going to get, mid-20s to 30 minutes or so, and he can definitely put up, 30-plus DraftKings points as we saw last time out. He could get closer to 40 DraftKings points at times, I think, so he would be an interesting play on the cheap end. Moving further along, Milwaukee at Miami. This game was a huge blowout last night. No Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is questionable in this one. I would expect him to return, but there's not really much of a clarification. I guess I can't really speculate whether I expect him to return or not, but we can break down what's going to happen if he's in or out. If he's in, he's a great play. He's the top option in this offense, and after getting blown out last time out, they're going to really need him. If he's out, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero are the guys that get the biggest bumps. Goran Dragic really put up kind of a dud last night. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the DraftKings game logs are updating, so I can't really reflect on exactly what he did, but I know he was really struggling at 5,500. I think he can get back on track in this one. Same rule applies for Tyler Hero. He had a much better game. I remember him getting up there in DraftKings points last night. And yeah, so those would be the two guys that I'm really the most interested in. And then, of course, you can play a Bam Adebayo at 7.6. Last time out, I think he was 8K, and I wasn't all too interested. But now that he's 7.6, he could definitely blow away that price tag. So those three guys would be my main options, followed by Duncan Robinson at 4.8, who is a guy that can get very hot from behind the arc. And if he starts stroking the threes with that half-point bonus on DraftKings, I would like him. On the Milwaukee side at 10.8, Giannis, I think, is a good play in this one because, as mentioned in my previous videos, I always like Giannis onto Antetokounmpo. It's just a matter of whether his team can stay in the game. If his team can stay in the game, or not his team, the opposing team. If the opposing team can stay in the game, Giannis is a great play. But the problem is the Bucks are so good, they're in a lot of blowouts. Last time out, they blew out this team. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't see Miami getting blown out twice in a row. They're a pretty good team. They're pretty deep. So I would like Giannis at 10.8. Chris Middleton at 7.4 I like as well. He's 200 priced for his upside. I would go there, and he can shoot the three, so he can definitely get you there on DraftKings pretty easily. And then lastly, Drew Holiday, 6.4. Both of these guys I think are a little underpriced. So Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton definitely make some sense in this one. Moving further along, Charlotte at Dallas. This one right now at the top, Luka Doncic comes in with a 10-7 price tag. As far as the total in this game, it does come in with a 222.5 over under. 8.5 point favorites are the Dallas Mavericks, so not exactly the top pace game, but Luka Doncic at the top, you can always have interest in at 10-7. Hasn't really put the numbers up that we're used to seeing him put up early on in the season. And it'll be interesting to see if he can get it going in this one. I'm not really too worried about Charlotte's defense. They're not a team that really scares me as far as their defensive capability. So I definitely do like Luka in this one at 10-7. It's just a matter of if his price tag matches up with other guys like a Giannis, as mentioned earlier, and if we have the salary relief to be able to fit him in our lineups. Gordon Hayward on the Charlotte side, a guy that's been playing very, very good on his new team. He's put up 46 and 49 DraftKings points early on, 31 DraftKings points the game in between, but with 50-point upside at 7-2, he would be one of the first guys I'm looking to on the Charlotte side, followed by Devontae Graham at 6'6", and Terry Rozier at 6'8". Devontae Graham, 30, 36, 33 DraftKings points at 6'6". He could definitely get you there. He put up 40, 45, 50 DraftKings points at 6'6". That's 200 price. And Terry Rozier at 6'8". Same rule applies. Those would be the guys I'm really looking to on this Charlotte side. Not all too interested in anyone else, really. Bismack Biyombo was a guy we were playing a lot just because of his price tag, but he was at 3.6 and 3.8. Now he's up to 4.8. I don't think I'll be going there. I think I value the center position a little too much to be playing a guy like him at 4.8 when I can go up and go down in another position, like a guard or a forward position, playing guys like Tyler Hero that we had mentioned earlier in the video. Los Angeles Lakers taking on the San Antonio Spurs right now. LeBron James is questionable for this one, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. If he is out, that's going to give a big bump to Anthony Davis. It's going to give a bump to Dennis Schroeder, so got to keep an eye on that one. Right now, this game, I don't really think there's a total out. There is a total out, which is surprising with LeBron listed as questionable. It's a 230 over-under with a 6-point favorite being the Los Angeles Lakers, so 230 over-under is pretty respectable as far as pace in this one, and I do think that the options we're going to are pretty clear-cut. As mentioned, LeBron is questionable, so we can't really reflect on that. If he's in, I do like him. He's been grading out pretty good in my projections early on in the season, just based on his price tag. He's only in the upper 9 to 10K range. Big price at $10,000 the last 2 slates, so I do think he can definitely get there at those price tags. Same rule applies to Anthony Davis. We saw him have kind of a lackluster game last time, only putting up 35 DraftKings points, but take it on the Spurs, and what's expected to be a close game, as mentioned by the spread. We could definitely see him get back on track. And then on the Spurs side, it's pretty clear-cut. There's 3 guys I'm looking to. It's DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge at the top. DeMar DeRozan, a guy I had interest in last time at 7.3. He got a price decrease down to 6.9. And I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of interest in him again because I think that's too cheap for his involvement in the offense. He's on the ball a lot. He just really struggled shooting last time out, shooting 3 for 12 after shooting 10 for 17 and 7 for 14 and 2 times 4. At 6'9", I think he's underpriced, and I'm guessing I'm going to have a lot of interest in him. And the same rule applies for LaMarcus Aldridge, who's really struggled to get it going early on. But at 6'3", this guy's just waiting to put up 50 DraftKings points. And in a matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers where they need the big with Anthony Davis, Marcus Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, that kind of deal, I could see LaMarcus Aldridge finally doing it in this one. And he is a guy that excels more in the half-court setting. And the Los Angeles Lakers do play, some half-court offense, some half-court defense type of pace. While it may be quick, they're getting their setup. They're getting their sets set up quickly in the half-court. They're still setting up in the half-court. So that's the point there. So I would definitely have some interest in him. I'm waiting for him to break out. We'll see how he grades out my model. And lastly, Dejante Murray, a guy that's played very, very good early on in the season. This guy's a talented young player. He's shown a lot of talent, throughout his career. Early on, it's just been a matter of whether he was going to finally get the minutes on this Spurs team, and he's starting to. So 6'4" and 6'8" the last 2 times out on DraftKings. And at only 6,100. I do think he's on a price. I definitely think he can get you there. He put up 45 and 42 DraftKings points out of the last 3 times, and then 27 last time out. But at 6'1" compared to 6'8", I definitely think he can get you there. Would definitely be having some interest in him. And then, lastly, the only thing I'd mention is if LeBron is out, of course, it does give a bump to Kyle Kuzma. So, he would become a more viable play as well. Moving on to the very last game of this 6-game slate, Portland taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard was ruled out last game out. I expect him to be back in this one finally. So, I definitely have some interest in him. But it's Damian Lillard, the highest priced guy at $10,000. No over-under in this one, but it is a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Clippers, which means it's going to be a close game, which means Damian Lillard is viable as always. Big game Dame, he is a guy that I like to play more in close games. Because, that's just where he really excels, and that's where his upside is. Has put up 53 and 45 DraftKings points the last time out. He's priced at $10K, a guy that's going to put up 50-plus for you, but he's very capable, so I like him. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would be the, top two options on this Clippers side. Kawhi putting up 47 DraftKings points last time out, and I think if he comes back, he could definitely put up 50-plus, so I'm going to have some interest in him. And same rule applies for Paul George. He's got 50-plus point upside at 8.5. These guys are both pretty talented players, and they're not priced up in the 10K range like a LeBron James, like an Anthony Davis, so you can get a little bit of a discount with similar upside. So I like them. CJ McCollum has been absolutely en fuego. He's on fire. 66 to 50 DraftKings points the last two times out, and at 7,900, he's not really getting respect from the DraftKings side of things. So be interesting to see where his ownership comes in, though, because he hasn't really been that highly owned, and people like to log into the DraftKings lobby and look at game logs and determine their plays from there, and I have a feeling we could see his ownership increase because of his recent success. So that would be the only disclaimer there, but he is performing very good. He can shoot really well from behind the arc, and I would definitely have some interest in him. And this one, and then with no Marcus Morris Sr., I think that gives a bump to Lou Williams, Nicholas Batum, and Luke Kennard. I had interest in Luke Kennard and Nicholas Batum last night. If you watch my lineup review at the beginning of the video, I actually think I forgot to mention, I had the 4 lineups, and the reason for that is that I had a 4,500 slot at the small forward position, and there were similar priced guys in Josh Jackson, Luke Kennard, Nicholas Batum, and Jarrett Culver. And with Cat being out, I went with Culver, and then with the questionable news of Kawhi, I went with Batum and Kennard. So my point being, those guys saw an increase in usage with no Kawhi Leonard. Not too sure I'm going to be wanting to go there as often. With Marcus Morris out, it helps him a little bit, but I'd be more interested in a guy like Lou Williams at 5.2. So not to rant, but that's just the thought process, with the recent news of Kawhi Leonard being out at times. They've been getting a bump, but with Kawhi back, I'd look for them to go on the back burner a little bit. And that's why I'm mentioning that. So yeah, that is my overall breakdown of this 6-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings tonight. If you enjoyed the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. And don't forget to check out my Patreon package over there on Patreon. You get access to my projections, all that fun stuff, guys. I'm really happy with how it's panning out right now for me. I've gotten some good feedback from the few Patreons that I have right now. And that is all. So I wish you guys all the best of luck in this one tonight. We will see you in the next one. Make sure you go win some money. And yeah, good luck, guys.